Calypso?
Yes. I don't really know if she's recording. Yes.
Okay. Yay! Okay.
Did you notice we both wore a shade of gray?
We did. We are 20 shades of gray. Not quite 50 because there's only 2 of us. You knew it was coming.
Hey, it's J and K.
Bringing some writing goodness your way.
Today we have an exciting update for you. We have finished editing.
Woo! Yay!
Celebration! So with that said, we'd like to segue into our number 2 video in how we write. So today we will talk about our writing process, and I'll let Jonathan talk a little bit about that.
Okay, so we started off with the very basic pieces of the plot. We really only had the conclusion and kind of where we wanted the story to go, and then we just started meeting at least once a week, sometimes escalated into 2 or maybe even 3 times, and then we did so much research. Oh my goodness, we did so much research, like literally years worth, just to make sure our setting was accurate scientifically and from a geographic standpoint, because especially with fantasy in that genre, you have to build a world, and since we weren't using the setting of an existing universe, it had to be totally thought out from the bottom to the top, from the most intricate details to broad things like what color is the sky. So
Yeah, exactly.
That's how we got started, and then once we got through the initial research, that's when we moved into creating our characters, and Kristina's going to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we kind of did character bios. We had a rough outline, and then we just sat there and thought about, given what storyline we'd already thought of, the kind of outline and the arc that we wanted to have, what kind of characters fit in there. So we filled out these character sheets. We kind of, well, me personally, I went a little in-depth on making almost Wikipedia page type for a particular creature that once you get to read it is the Euroti, as well as the people called the High Bloods, and I made this really in-depth Wikipedia page basically, and for me that really helped to build when I went to go write the first chapter. So all this is stuff that we could look at, and we knew that it would change because as you write, your characters begin to speak to you. No, we're not crazy. The characters start to tell you what they want to do, and so these bios that we created were they were loose, and so we would go back in and change them all the way up until when we finished it. We were still making some changes to what those characters were because they would tell us, no, I don't like to do that, I'm going to do this other thing. So we got all that, and then we started the actual writing, and we would write separately, which may sound a little odd, but we would write separately and then send it to each other. We used some tools. We could even share some of those maybe in a blog post later, but we would be able to look at what each of us wrote, and then once we would meet again, those 1 to 2 to maybe 3 as we got along, we just kept meeting and meeting, we would talk about those and give our input on it, make sure we understood, because we're writing in one story and we wanted to make sure, okay, I think I know what you're saying, Jonathan, but tell me a little bit more, and that way we could see each other's visions of what the chapter was going to accomplish and how that fit into the other things. The one thing I failed to mention, which is kind of interesting when I talk to other people, is we have several characters, and what we did is we decided to choose characters that we would write from. So that was one way we kept things separate and flowing, was I was responsible for these characters and Jonathan was responsible for these other ones, and it was really cool to get finally where characters were interacting, and I'd ask Jonathan, well, what does this character, I'd put little brackets and I'd say, Jonathan needs to tell me what this character will say. Exactly. Anything I missed?
I don't think so. I mean, it really was a journey, and our characters dictated a lot of that for us and that was how we knew they were fully realized characters. So I can speak for both of us in saying we're very proud of what we've created, and it can definitely be useful to you in your own writing adventures. If you have a character, don't just stop at giving them a name or saying where they come from. Like, think about how would they dress, what are their mannerisms, do they have a pet, how old are they, do they have any romantic interests. I mean, there's so many layers to people that you have to let the character show you the way if they're going to be successful in communicating your goal for them in the story.
Exactly.
Well, I think that is all that we have for you today. There is going to be a part 3 of this video in which we discuss our editing process, which is now complete. And we may also talk a little bit about how we're constructing our queries, because of course we want to get our book published now that it's done. We've also been putting quite a bit on social media, so pay attention to that. Otherwise, thank you so much, Seekers. We appreciate you. And remember,
as always, by your compass, stay true.